What is happening, everybody? Thanks for catching up again on the Crash Bang Boom podcast. Today's guest is drummer Dave Bland of Full of Hell and Jarhead Fertilizer. I'm realizing Dave and I hadn't talked since the last time he was on the podcast back in April of 2020, so he definitely had some catching up to do. We get into Angelic Vato's bizarre scapula injuries, a horrific injury at a Full of Hell show, insanely long solo drives across the states, upcoming tours, and a whole lot more. So hope y'all enjoy it. Today's episode is sponsored by oneuploops.com. Drummer Carson Gann and his team spent an incredible amount of time recording for over 450,000 shaker, tambourine, and hi-hat loops at every possible tempo and multiple feels with incredible mics and outboard gear for you to pick and choose. It's organized for you to find exactly what you need with just a few clicks, and everything feels and sounds incredible. You can sign up for free to check it out and gain full access to all 450,000 loops starting at just $6 a month. No download limits, whatever you want, whenever you want. New loops, one-shots, and drum breaks are being added weekly. Definitely a great addition to the arsenal of any drummer and or producer, and one hell of a drummer himself. And I can vouch for some of those loops, having used them myself. Check it out at oneuploops.com. Crash Bang Boom podcast can be found where all podcasts are found. If you like what you hear, please check out any of the previous 290 plus episodes and double high fives. If you can give me a like, a subscription, and or a positive review, as it would be appreciated. All right, here we go. Dave Bland, explosive punk rock blast off in your ear holes. Crash Bang Boom.
Crowds go mad with joy.
All right, Dave Bland, Full of Hell, Jarhead Fertilizer. It's only been 4 years since we spoke, man. It's been a hot 4 years and a strange 4 years at that.
Oh, yeah.
The last time we spoke, it was April of 2020, so just getting into COVID. Neither of us had any idea of where the fuck all of that madness was going.
Yeah. COVID is a life-changing for everybody, that's for sure. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, man, I mentioned Jarhead Fertilizer. I believe you just did a run with them. We can get into kind of your playing with them live because I have a few questions. But tell me about this last tour and apparently some of the van issues that y'all had getting back.
Yeah. This last tour was with Gate Creeper, Undeath, and Final Gasp. And as it writes in Jarhead history, I guess if we think we're going to have a good time on tour, we think that it's going to be a lot of friends around, or we're just going to be partying or something. It's always comes back to bite us in the ass and remind us that we can't have fun for a little bit. Too much fun, it always like something happens. But we made it to Santa Fe. The van is, if I could give any advice to any touring musician, is never buy a diesel Ford Econoline van, because even if it looks pretty on paper, it gives you hell when you got to find a mechanic to work on a diesel. It's always like the repair orders double what you would pay with a regular.
Oh, no.
But we played with Weekend Nachos in New York City, and then we drove straight from there to Santa Fe, New Mexico.
Wow.
Pretty much nonstop the whole way.
How long did that take, dude? That's a brutal drive.
Oh, man, I know too much about driving out there now. That's like a 27-hour drive if you don't stop, and that's not with the trailer or anything. But I'd say like a good like 40-hour drive with a trailer, just if you put in stops and everything, what I mean? But I'm pretty good about driving. At least Jarhead, I do a lot of driving. Also, Vinny, the bass player, does a lot too. But I do a lot of driving in that band, and I'm pretty good about driving like 18 hours straight, and then I'll crash for, 24 hours or something like that.
Oh my God.
We made it to Santa Fe, and Eric from Gate Creeper, their previous tour had switched, so they got a bandwagon for that tour. They had their van. A plane hit the Albuquerque airport.
What?
So the driver, a plane crashed there. I think it might have been a small plane, or not like with like a lot of passengers, but somebody crashed a plane into the airport, basically, like, on the ground. And so flights were canceled for this dude. Their driver was supposed to pick their van up, and our van made it there, no problem, fine. And then, we went to go load out. We went to start it. It just wouldn't crank over. It'll be cranking forever. It just wouldn't start. And we're like, oh, no way. At 9 p.m., what the hell are we going to do? I was thinking we're going to miss shows. And we're pretty good about, at this point, it's kind of sad that we're really good about like me and a couple other guys will split up, and then I'll come back with a plan. Each of us had like 3 different plans, you know what I mean? Within like 2 hours of like, all right, we're going to make it to the show tomorrow. But
oh my God.
Luckily, that happened. So we rented the Gate Creeper van for the rest of the tour, and that was like a big lifesaver because we didn't have to miss any shows or outsource. It would have cost so much money to get a box truck to get the trailer to a couple
Oh
shows. You
Lord.
know what I mean?
Oof.
But yeah, so I ended up having to actually solo. The last show was Richmond. I got back last week from 2 months of touring. I had to drive from Richmond to Phoenix to drop off the Gate Creeper van because they were 2 days late on getting ours done. We could have picked it up on the way home, but they were just 2 days late. And so I had to drive from Richmond to Phoenix and go from Phoenix to Santa Fe, New Mexico, pick the van up, and then drive home. And that was after the last show, which is a hell of a. I did it as fast as I could too, which is 6 days with one person, just me driving. 6 days of that
Oh,
is like
dude.
you're like at the end of that drive, you're just like you're battling demons. You know what I mean? The last couple, like good thing I can just like sit there and like nonstop listen to podcasts and things like that. But I don't know how many more pyramid podcasts I could listen to before I'm like, you know what I mean? Like I gotta get out of this van.
Right.
But
Richmond to Phoenix?
yes, yeah. So all total, I think that's like doing it in a van as well, just with no trailer. Luckily, that's 60. I think it's like 68 hours of driving. Like,
But still, it's ridiculous amount of driving.
yeah, it's like driving from the West Coast to the East Coast. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe even a little bit more than that. It's yeah, it's a rough drive, that's for sure. And also on top of it, I'm just like, your last day, of course, I get a infected wisdom tooth and also bronchitis on the way there. So
Oh
I'm just like,
no.
the whole
Miserable.
time I'm just like driving like by myself, like, God, I can't believe I'm doing this. But I mean, got the van, I made it back. It went as good as it could for sure. It was like, but
The exception of the tooth and and the damn bronchitis, right?
and driving through Oklahoma is like,
Oh, it
God,
sucks. I've done it before. It's fucking terrible.
I don't know how people live there with the allergies there. It's psychotic. I mean, it's just like,
It's just a dustbin with like
yeah,
rolling tumbleweeds and defunct gas stations, and
oh yeah,
it makes you feel like you're having deja vu because you're like, it's hard to have a sense of where you've been because it feels like there's so much nothing there. It's
yeah,
really maddening driving through
yeah.
Oklahoma.
It's definitely a lot of nothing, that's for sure. But and just like, I mean, it turns out I'm really allergic to grass pollen. I wasn't sure, like whatever grass they got in Oklahoma, the pollen of that is like psychotic for me because I'm just whole time I'm just like going in there, and that made it even worse probably for me. But
Right.
it's all good. But I try also, you're just trying to do it as fast as you can because I've been on tour for like 7 weeks at that point. So like
Oh,
I'm like, all I could think about is like, damn man, I would really love to go home. Everybody else is home. I'm like, I would love to go home right now. You know what I mean? But here I am. I signed up for it by buying this van. So
right.
the van
Holy
is
shit.
good. It's a good van. It's 23,000 miles. I bought it. I put 40,000 on it since, but like
Yeah.
for a 2000, it's 2004. Just don't buy a
Okay.
20. It's not a 20-year-old diesel, even if it has low miles. It's just like,
Right.
yeah, yeah. But hey, you live, you learn. I'll get a new van and this one's running, but get a new one and that'll be all she wrote. I learned my lesson a good fucking $15,000 later. I pretty much learned
What?
my lesson.
Really?
I could buy a house. Oh yeah, just like that's not just this repair order, but probably total like of like this is the second time it's happened. So it's like,
What
wow.
exactly went wrong with it? I've got like I've owned vehicles forever, but
Diesels are just so complicated. When like things go wrong, it's like there's like multiple parts that go. This time it was two fuel injectors went bad, and which is
right.
miserable for a diesel. And like so they had their cost $400 a pop, and I had to get four of them replaced, and then
Wow.
also EGR valve, like an oil pickup tube. It's like some stuff that like the EGR valve is just dumb. It's like something that's like with a diesel it just regulates like the gas emissions. So it gets stuck open when it's like too much buildup, carbon buildup, and turns out it happened to me. And you can't like Vinny is pretty good at working on vehicles. Bass player Jarhead, you when you're on tour and you like pop open like an engine on a diesel and you like see this engine, you just see how packed they can't pack all the parts they want to pack into like
Right.
an Econo line. Like the hood's kind of small. When you
Uh-huh.
see these 16 passengers, it like they double the parts and they just throw everything inside just so you have to take apart the whole engine to get to like a little tiny valve that
Oh,
costs $150. Yeah, it's a lot of that. So yeah, you learn your lesson. The first time the whole oil cooling system went up, and we were in California the first time this happened to us in Bakersfield, like around there, and it are also at the same time our trailer popped the leaf spring.
Oh
So
no.
yeah, so we broke a leaf spring and the whole engine starts throwing oil all over the place when we get to the gas station to pull over. And luckily we had a friend pick us up like 2.5 hours to LA at that point.
Yeah.
Some random we were getting panhandled by homeless people
Oh
nonstop and
God.
just scammers and stuff like that. It was real popular out in Bakersfield, especially where we're at. So some kind of some like little like kind of Vato looking guy, older dude who's got the beads in his car and everything, rolls up and he's like, you guys need parts? And I'm like, yeah, I mean, I thought you were gonna ask me for money. Like, yeah, I actually do need parts. He's like, oh, what do you need? I was like, a leaf spring. He's like, 1 second, called us. He's like, I just sold my friend a leaf spring. It was the exact size we needed.
What?
Yeah, this angel that came down. I don't know what Ruben was his name. He's awesome. He just shows up in a different vehicle every time, like golf carts and stuff. He's bringing his tools. He's got angle grinders and everything. We got the leaf spring on, and we made it to doors for that LA show that time. This is like pretty much a year and a half ago, and we made it to
Wow.
LA at doors at like 9 o'clock, and somehow got to play. The show's awesome and everything, but. Yeah,
Damn.
that worked out too. We haven't missed a show due to van troubles yet, which is
That's
I'll
incredible.
yeah, I'll spend all the money in my pocket to make sure I don't miss the show, but at the end of it you're like, damn, I'm so in debt over this damn van. But hey,
Oh, damn, dude. Well, of some of the shows, I mean, with Jarhead Fertilizer, I feel like it's, I mean, full of hell. You play in a couple of very extreme bands, I would say. Super physical playing. We talked a lot about that early on with the last podcast. But with Jarhead Fertilizer, aside from just getting to the gigs and all the troubles with vans and everything in between, have there been some just truly bizarre gigs that y'all have played? Because I feel like in that sort of realm in which y'all operate, if it's not a festival and you're playing just kind of or on a tour for that matter, you can end up in some strange places.
yeah. With Jarhead, I'll say I guess it's not as weird as I don't know. We had such a long hiatus with Jarhead where we just like we didn't play shows for maybe like 5-6 years. So a lot of the early shows were just like lots of like just like I don't know, punk shows in Baltimore or
Sure.
something like that, or local shows that we'll throw on. We've been pretty lucky about not playing the weirdest spots or having too crazy things happen for Jarhead shows, whereas compared to Full of Hell, there's times where people run up with their guts hanging out at us and stuff
What?
like that. That happened in Edmonton one time for Full of Hell while we were there. It was
What the hell happened to him?
some guy runs up and he's asking everybody for his phone. He's like, somebody, I just need to call somebody. He's holding his stomach. He's like, I just needed somebody's phone to make a phone call real quick. And we're like, no, man, what the hell? And then we look down, and this dude's holding his intestines in his hands, and we're like, holy shit! And by that time, cops start rolling down the street, and he's like, oh, I gotta go. He just starts running. He starts running away
with his guts in his hands.
Yeah. Apparently, people knew this guy. I think he is kind of like maybe like a. I don't want to say he had to be tweaking on something. Obviously,
Yeah.
he's like asking for a cell phone with his intestines in his hand. But somebody knew him, I guess, from like the venue. They sent us a picture a few days later. Someone must have took a razor and just like, what I mean, slid across his stomach. But he got it all stapled shut and lived, actually, which is psycho.
What the fuck? Where was this? Where did this happen?
Edmonton, Canada, in Canada.
In Canada, no less.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say Oklahoma.
No.
I thought the Canadians were supposed to be nice and chill, man.
No, hell no, not now. I'll get surprised by Canadians. Actually, that's what I will say. Especially when you get to like from like the mid to the west, like from Alberta all the way over to like what I mean, all the way like to Vancouver. Vancouver is especially fucked. I mean, it's like
really.
It's what I mean. Hey, you make drugs legal. Turns out it's like
a lot of people will do them.
It's not that cool anymore. We showed this last time Full Hell showed up to Canada or to Vancouver. Just like I mean, it's pretty open, crack smoking everywhere and stuff like
Wow.
that. And people are just like, falling over and all kinds of shit. We're in the alleyway to load in, and there's like, must be like 10 tweakers in there. They're all crack pipes I ain't never seen before. You know what I mean? So we got some futuristic crack pipes there now. And like,
God
uh,
damn.
dudes pulling out Grey Goose bottles, being like, it's for the van, it's for the bands, it's for the bands. And I'm just like, man, this is welfare check time. It's crazy around Vancouver, I'll say. But
Jesus.
yeah,
Have you,
West Coast is going under. That's how it is.
it sure as hell seems like it. My wife just got back from San Francisco, and
Oh, she saw it. Yeah.
I get it where you could be really laxed on drugs and homelessness, but at some point you're probably going to find that you have a lot of drug-addled homeless people everywhere fucking smoking crack in the streets.
It's like, I mean, they made a movie about this RoboCop. It's
Right.
it's happening for real. I don't know. San Francisco, I think, is the number one craziest I think I've seen for that. Whereas like Vancouver, I feel like they could be kind of chill. Like
Yeah.
you go to San Francisco, you got to deal with that RoboCop going on. You go to Oakland, you get robbed. Like I don't know, it's not like it's just not fun to be around there. I'm just like I can't believe that bands getting smash and grab nonstop. But Jarhead,
Nonstop.
last time we were in Oakland,
They got y'all's equipment?
not us, but Phobophilic we were on tour with. They within 5 minutes smashed, and they grinded off their whole, like, not just the lock, just like the trailer hitch and a hole, like, so you couldn't even lock it after that. Like within 5 minutes, I mean, burned it all. They were trying to burn the ignition. They didn't get their van, but they just took some bags and stuff they had inside there. But I mean, yeah, it's sad to see. I at a certain point, it's like, how do you play these cities if like,
Absolutely. You can't, it's a risk you can't even take at that point.
and like venues a lot of times it's not like they have money to like pay security
No.
to just stand at a van at like a block away or something. It's kind of like I kind of see it from both sides, but there has to be like a medium of some sort. I mean, I feel like security has to be watching vans
Absolutely.
for Oakland at least. That's like the big one that for damn sure. Oakland is like sucks actually. I just see it when you see it happen. You're like, damn. I mean, Full of
Oh.
Hell got the van stolen one time, but that was years ago at this point.
Did y'all get it back?
Well, we didn't get anything inside of it back, but we all of equipment. And I lost all my clothes. And I left. It was my birthday the day before, so I just left all my shit
Oh
in there.
no.
I was hungover as hell. I was like, I'll be fine. I'll just go in here with like Crocs and sweatpants and hardly a shirt, and I'll wake up and be like, oh damn it, everything is gone. But yeah, they found the
Oh.
van gutted like a month later, something like that, maybe a month and a half later. Cops don't really do anything. That's in America. Like when you get something stolen,
Right.
anybody can steal your shit, and the cops are just like, should have been better at watching it. You know what I mean? So
Right.
they found like people selling our shirts at a flea market. They arrested them for just a little bit, questioned them, and then they had to let them go because like they're like, I mean, you didn't technically do anything wrong. We can't prove these shirts are y'all's, basically. I mean, like it is the
Oh.
100%. They got 100 full hell shirts at a flea market.
Yeah,
Like,
you're like, where the fuck did that come from?
some dude looked up the news report. It was like, oh man, I thought this was like some band. Like, why the hell do you guys got their stuff? So then, it's just a whole ring of people in Atlanta that are, chop shopping things and stuff. And they found a gutted van. So, I mean, after what, like a month and a half, but they're just kind of like, yeah, it's totaled. So it's, insurance didn't really do anything for us or anything like that.
And that happened in Oakland, or you said Atlanta?
Atlanta. That was Atlanta. Yeah.
That did happen in Atlanta. I live south of Atlanta. That's crazy.
Yeah. Airport. Just don't stay at the airport. You're good. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or don't park your car at the airport. You'll be good. You know what I mean? It's stealing cars.
Dude, it blows my mind how vast the ring of these scumbag thieves are that prey on bands and musicians, but it's got to be so vast. There is a national network, because it's just like, how does equipment disappear? You got to think, where's the nearest border? I'm assuming it's going to Mexico. It's putting on a container ship and it's going overseas. But there's serial numbers. There's all this stuff. How does this stuff just fucking disappear? But there's a network and it's national.
I'm assuming like they got like some. I mean, we had like some handmade aluminum guitars and things like that. I had like a gifted Igor Cavalera ride that I was using on that tour, which I shouldn't have been using on that tour. That's probably the only thing I was real bummed about. But it's an unfortunate situation. But now someone sleeps, any band I'm in someone sleeps in the van every night. There's not ever we take turns, and it is what one person sleeps in the van. And since then we've probably stopped, I don't know, maybe 5 different break-ins since then.
How do y'all stop it? For the person that's in it, what do they do to stop it? Yell, go, get the fuck out of here.
Oh, I mean, more of just like, yeah, kind of like what the fuck you doing, or grab a piece of rebar or flashlights. I mean, that's another thing is you kind of like pose the risk of getting shot in America, which is not like,
100%.
yeah. But at the same time, I think most of these people that are doing this, they're not looking to like, fight anybody that's
Right.
that they're trying to steal these like real fast, do a little quick, run and grab.
Smash and grab.
Yeah. Like they're usually just trying to like, they're you yell at them, they're taking off, and like they're not thinking twice about how fast they're taking off. But I
Right.
mean, I like me and Vinny, we were in the van on one Jarhead tour. We were on mushrooms, and we were laughing our ass off in the van. And we're like it's like almost like 3:30 a.m. or something like that. And I'm like, I look up, and I'm like, he's like, yo, is someone trying to break into Mortress, Van Mortress we're on tour with? He's like, somebody trying to break into their van right now? I was like, oh fuck, yeah, someone is trying to break into
Oh,
within like,
no.
yeah. So I popped out the back with a flashlight with the strobe on. That's always the best. So
Oh,
this
yeah.
the strobe flashlight, like they're terrified immediately of that. But we're yelling at them, like running. I've
Fuck
never
out
seen
here.
someone go so fast. They peel out in some car, no license plate or anything.
Damn.
But they had the lock pick within like 10 seconds. They already had the back door was like picked and open already, like psychotic. That's how fast it is.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't mind sleeping in the van half time. Like it's fine for me. Depending if like unless I'm like really intensely sore or something like that. I'm like,
Right.
but I mean, we have it fixed now. Like we have a bed in the back and everything. It's just like it's pretty comfortable when it's not ridiculously hot. Yeah.
The
Yeah.
last time I talked to you as well, we were talking about sort of some of I think you mentioned somewhere between Mike Mangini and like John Longstreth as being sort of, inspiration for hand technique and this and that and the other. Since the last time I talked to you with COVID downtime and not playing, and did you have any realizations about your setup? Has anything changed since the last time I spoke to you?
Yeah. I do think like I've definitely been like an advocate of trying to have more control, I guess, in my playing, with also still playing intensely,
Yeah.
especially I've there's always going to be someone that has a problem with someone that hits hard or something playing blast beats or something like that.
Yeah.
I felt a definite like increase, at least, maybe getting older or something, or just playing enough. At least I've had a good like, you know, medium of that I've found, I think, where I'm not like overplaying as much. Like
Uh-huh.
I'm definitely way more comfortable, maybe more conditioned. I mean, especially doing we've done now like 2 different like shows, and also like a UK run with
Hmm.
Jarhead playing before Full of Hell, and like doing back-to-back sets
Ooh,
where I'll be,
dude. Holy shit.
yeah. So that, and we did what, like 13 shows in the UK, Ireland.
Wow.
At the first show, I was like, my muscles were just like not working. I was like jet lagged and everything. When we got to
Yeah.
Ireland, I was like, my muscles just stopped where I'm drinking Guinness the day before. So like, I'm like, go to play for Full of Hell at least. And I'm like, notice like, damn, like my cramping up and stuff like that. I since then I've like noticed that it's gotten way easier. After that first show, I was like, okay, now like I can play back to back, and it's like, yeah, it's tiresome after like maybe one show, but I just need that to break in, and then it's like, okay, I
Yeah.
could do this easily. It's not it that definitely helped my conditioning, I think, as well. Just like, I my setup as well. I got a new drum set, D drum, maybe a custom one with with all brass hoops and gold flake in the paint and things like that.
Nice.
And that but I pretty much got every drum that I would want to use in the studio. So like 12, 13, and 14 rack toms, and then
Yep.
16 and 18 floor toms. And
Nice.
since then, and I've added deca bonds and things, and my left side of, almost timbali style
Yep.
drums, I've definitely is that's helped my playing a lot. I think it's more of like I don't know. It's become definitely a bigger kit for Full of Hell, at least,
Yeah.
especially. But it's definitely increased my playing. I think also like the last Full of Hell record as well. definitely helped out a lot just because I spent so much time, and COVID was like a big thing for that because me and Spencer had a lot of time to like be like kind of meticulous about the songs just because we had so much time. We had like 2 years or something to sit on these songs, and we were
Yeah.
just like, yeah. So like with Coagulated Bliss, it was definitely a a real. I took 4 days in the studio for drums and mapping out all the metronome and doing weird times of like
Uh-huh.
even songs that like I are popular that I like or something like that. I just like increments of five for a metronome, and I realized like nothing's done by that. Like it's like it shouldn't be done like that. At least it all should be just like in the middle, like 127 to 93 or something like that.
Uh-huh.
Just being like slightly comfortable with being uncomfortable while playing is
Yeah.
has helped a lot, I think, for sure. I just been also touring as much as possible. I will say like
Yeah, I feel like you've been touring your ass off.
yeah, since COVID it's been nonstop. It's been definitely, I feel like I had 4 months off, but in those 4 months that I did have off, I was going and had to go pick up our broken down van for Jarhead and stuff like that, and like that. That's almost like a daunting thing for me. Like maybe every 6 months I need to be going out to the West Coast to drive 60 hours or some shit home. That's like that's my
God.
motive, I guess. I have enough time to think.
Right. Damn, dude. Yeah, with Coagulated Bliss, I feel like it was well received. I feel like there was the press reaction and everything seemed to be pretty positive. Was that? And I haven't seen y'all live for that record yet, but how has the response been, generally speaking, around it?
Actually pretty mind-blowingly good. I think we can all say that probably. We definitely didn't know how people would receive the record going into it. This is the record we wanted to write for a minute, I feel like. And some things haven't like maybe been fully conveyed in like a full length like it was for this, where whether it be like rock parts or electronic parts like Scorn or Godflesh or something, and then
Sure.
also like lots of slow things from like bands like Harvey Milk and things and Melvins that we
Right.
like, that like adding elements of that. We kind of were like, we don't give a fuck what people think about this record, even though, and we do, but I mean at the same time we were just like, we this is what we wanted to do, and this is fully us. And
That's what you got to do.
that being said, I wasn't sure if people would be like stoked on some of these like weirder, I don't know, Spencer writing some crazy Greg Ginn style part for a grindcore song. So like I don't
Yeah.
know, we kind of combined all the elements that we wanted to do and really spent a lot of time on it. So it was so well received. Like that being said,
Yeah.
I think that yeah, we're all pleased with that. I mean, but at the same time, we're like, if some people don't like it, we don't give a fuck. This is the music we want to play. This is the music we want to write. But I think that being said, it probably shows somewhat in the actual, music itself.
Yeah.
Whereas people seem to always say like that sounds like the record we wanted to write for a while. So it's cool that other people pick up on things that we're kind of conscious about while like writing and recording.
Totally, totally, man. With the two collaborative records that y'all have done since the last time I talked to you, between Primitive Man and Nothing, the bands that y'all collaborated with, what was the connection with either of those bands, both of those bands? And when you say like Primitive Man or Nothing, is it the entirety of both bands? How does that work?
So that's like the probably the main thing that differs from those collabs is that the Primitive Man collab was uh two drums, me and Joe together in the
Gotcha.
studio,
Yeah.
and we recorded those so mostly to like together, mostly doing it like all the drums like at the same time.
Was that tricky?
Yes, I will say, yeah. I think
Yeah.
that it's our styles kind of it does bounce off each other pretty well. I think that
Okay.
that's what made it a little easier. Whereas it's very hard to either do very slow or
Yes.
very, very fast. I that record probably, woke me up a little bit about like, oh, I need to focus more on like some slow stuff,
Uh-huh.
sometimes because like it's very hard to get that natural like metronome in your brain where
Yeah.
you go to play slow and there's the feel from it is so hard sometimes to keep it.
Yeah.
We're good about like keeping time with each other, where he'll play extremely slow to a blast beat that I'm playing.
Wow.
No matter what, it was like, a lot of those parts are really cool about that record. Whereas the nothing one is just me playing drums on the whole thing.
Okay, yeah, I thought so. Okay.
So that's yeah, that one's just solo. Because they've been, at that point, I think it just made more sense, especially for that. We weren't gonna like do two drummers, and it's so hard to pull off. I mean, I can't even like think about like, like I mean, the times I've seen Melvins with two drummers, been that's been the best I've ever seen. I don't think that I've done it before with other drummers, but I think that's the Melvins is probably, I mean, it's pretty unbeatable besides maybe King Crimson, I
Right.
mean, like, yeah, if you want to up it to a third drummer, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
right.
That's even harder. So besides King Crimson, because nobody's King Crimson, yeah,
Correct.
the Melvins is probably like, that's the tightest I've ever seen two drummers play together. Kai Lesson was doing it pretty cool for a minute.
Right.
Yeah, it's a hard thing to do, but I'll say it's enjoyable to play fast and slow together. It's like not a lot of two drummer things that I think are doing that, so that was cool with the Primitive Man one for sure.
Yeah. When you mentioned kind of the intensity in which you play, and there are very few drummers that play in sort of upper BPMs that can still play with a certain kind of ferocity or kind of volume or attitude. Because at some point, the faster and faster it gets, it's become such of a sewing machine like notation almost that it is these really small muscle groups, and that's what it sort of takes. But you've got an interesting balance where you're able to play it loud. Again, it's like this kind of vicious kind of punk rock blast beat kind of grindcore foundation, I'm assuming that you have. But yeah,
Yes,
I
yeah,
saw Gabe Serbian of the Locust kind of do that.
he's an amazing drummer. Yeah.
Then again, those were really kind of super fast transitions. You play for even more extended amounts of time, I feel like, with that. But I mean, have you not had any issues with any aches and pains that are nagging that you've had to deal with?
I will say I've had not a lot, but there's, I'd be lying if I say that I'm like Superman about like some shit, it's like, no, undoubtedly I have to like take care of my body of like stretching and things like that. And
Yeah.
anything that's like, I've started getting even, here and there, I'll get massaged and stuff like that,
Yep.
like deep muscle tissue,
Yeah.
whatever I can do to like, kind of look at what a fighter gets done to him. And I'm like, all
Totally.
right, yeah, that's kind of like, I'm basically going through a car crash every night. So it's like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Fuck.
That's also it's like the game you play, I guess. It's like, I'll probably die for the live performance. So it's for me, I'm not and that's like another, I guess, more always keep a slight grindcore punk mentality, something of like Mick Harris from Napalm Death or
Totally.
something. As like definitely like I'm always like single foot blasting and things like that. That's another thing is like I think with the single foot blasting, it's a little hard to chill while doing the single foot blast, at least like, and switching BPMs with that and things like
Uh-huh.
that. I think it gives a good like core of being able to hit hard consistently because you're
Yeah.
kind of always like having to come back to your right side. But that being said, I got a condition. It's called snapping scapula. So it's like my whole scapula bone will, it basically, because of fast motions, it pops in and out of slightly in and out of socket a lot.
Oh.
So from like a lot of, I guess I'm gonna assume from single foot blasting and a lot of ride
Uh-huh.
hitting a heavy bag at home for like an hour and stuff like that all the time is those motions have like caused that to happen. I've been good about maintaining it, but I basically build like scar tissue like a square on my right side of my back, like all around the bone completely. And I used to get like cortisone shots.
Ah, those are so brutal. I've gotten them before. I got them in my wrist. Ah.
Oh yeah, they go like they have to for that bone too. They have to like go into your shoulder a lot of it or like in through the back, but they have to get under the bone to get
Ah,
like
Jesus,
the
dude.
cortisone shot. It actually is like less painful. I think like I was probably a couple times when it was bad and I didn't know how to take care of it. It was that was more painful than getting the shot probably because I was just like consistently just like
Yeah.
my right side swollen. But from stretching and things like that, and just like finding it's just hard to, you can't massage your own back, so that's like another thing.
Of
Even if you
course.
get a massage gun, you got to get somebody to use
You
that
still
shit
got to get your buddies to drill
on
you out.
tour. I'm not having my homeboy sit on my back and I mean, and do the deep tissue massage or anything. I'm cool with that. So like the massage rollers and things like that, it
Yeah.
works, and it works well enough. Yeah, you learn how to maintain these. We go to hot tubs now. That's like I hit the sauna
There
when
you
I
go.
can. I try to be a little proactive about at least taking care of my body in those ways. Supplements too, you know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah,
Stretching, warming up, and some good electrolytes will get you through some tough physical shit.
yes, that's damn right. That's damn
That's
right.
kind of the
That's
holy
like
trinity. Throw in some ibuprofen once you get my age, but
yeah. Well, at this point, I might as well be 40 or something. I'm 30
you
now.
might
I might as
be.
well.
Yeah.
I've been touring 15 years, so it's probably about yeah.
Holy shit.
My body's 40 at this point for sure.
Right. Oh my God, man. So what dates do y'all have coming up?
So we got Full of Hell has Sound and Fury, and we have a local show actually this Saturday. We have a
Okay.
local show. Actually, we hardly ever play our local town, so we got one just like Salisbury is where we're real close by. So that'll be cool. And after that, Sound and Fury, and then nothing till August is Australia, New Zealand, and Southeast Asia. So I'm real stoked about that.
Holy moly. Y'all going to Southeast Asia?
Yeah, second time we've done it. But we're hitting some spots we haven't done before, so it's gonna be cool. Thailand and things like that.
Dude, I've been to Thailand and Cambodia. Both of those places are very otherworldly. There's no doubt that you're in a very different place.
Oh yeah, we did Philippines, Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, Indonesia. We did those before. But we're gonna hit a lot of the same spots, but we haven't wanted to go to China and things like that, but we
Yeah.
won't end up being able to do that. I think it kind of fell through this time, which is it's fine. There's so many spots to hit that it's I mean, it's close together. Everything is so close together, but it's still like things will fall through and come back up. So you kind
Yep.
of but I love that part of the world, and it's like definitely like a treat to go and play.
Yeah. Well, Dave, man, it was fun talking to you, man. Like I said, it's been a long time. I'm glad to hear you're doing good, keeping your body mostly intact, and
Yes.
also going through the hellfire of touring and everything else. But damn, dude, you're doing it to it. I'm impressed.
Yeah, thank you. And I'm back at the beach now, so I got enough time. 1 week of chill. I'm ready to do it all over again. So it's
Holy
fine.
moly, dude. You're an intense man. Fucking A, bro. Well, I'll have to catch up with you, man, if y'all come through the Atlanta area, and hopefully no vans or any equipment stolen this time.
Oh,
I'll
no.
definitely try to catch up with you, man. We'll have
Yeah.
an adult beverage or two.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I'm ready. Thank you, man. Thanks
Fuck
for
yeah.
having me.
All right, Dave.
Oh yeah.
All right, that does it for this one. Thanks for tuning in. Props to Dave for hanging. Keep your eyes peeled for his bands coming through. The dude is a whirlwind of insane energy. Catch y'all on the next one. Crash, bang, boom.